been featured in the um, in the magazine or helped out with special guests judging for the magazine. So I'm not going to talk for super long. I'm not going to make this a very long-winded thing. I just want to give you a little background on Knights Library Magazine and also where we're going in the future. As also promised, I have a special announcement. So Knights Library Magazine was founded by myself and my fraternity brother in 2015. It was founded because when we left our creative writing program, we didn't know where to submit or what we were looking or what magazines were looking for our type of work. So we created our own. It had 4 very successful issues around Eastern Michigan University in 2015 and then disbanded. Luckily, I had some really good friends, collective members, lifetime family, really, that helped me bring it back in 2019. So we had our first reissue in fall of 2019, and we are on our 3rd issue now, going into the 4th, along with 2 special issues that are one's coming out next week and then one coming out in December, which is super cool. So why are we here? Why do we have a fundraiser? It is safe to say that running a magazine is not cheap. It's really not. A lot of this comes out of my pocket, but I can also tell you that the money raised today and for going on is not going to come to me. It's actually all going right back into the magazine. Starting next year, we are going to be having an anthology that comes out. The team is actually going to be meeting and discussing the anthology and then revealing the actual the theme of the anthology coming real soon, so look out for that. But early next year, we'll be calling for submissions of an anthology, along with it coming out late next year. And we're going to be doing a chapbook contest next year around summer, around June. And that will be, we're looking to get those published by the end of the year. All of this stuff, we want to pay those contributors. We want to make sure we have the money to send those books out. We want to make sure, we just have the funds to really start pushing more into the community. So there's 2 ways you can donate. One would be, we have our regular donation page, which is paypal.me/knightslibrary. It is always open. You can send in money whenever. All that money will be, again, cycled back into the magazine, making sure we have the ability to further these amazing artists and the talent that we get coming into our inbox. But the second way, and the cool thing, is one of our announcements is going to be our Patreon. So starting January 1st, we are actually going to start a Patreon. That Patreon is going to have early access to content. So like the magazine, you'll be able to read early. Special inside tips and writing tools. We're going to offer workshops, things like that, all things you can get from the Patreon. You're also going to get early access to our, also starting in January, upcoming podcasts. So myself and our interviewer, Alex Nuttall, we're actually going to start a podcast starting in January. We have a lineup of some people. You're going to get early access to that as well. So you'll be able to come in and, just listen to us first. Last but not least, and this is kind of the big thing. So Knights Library is actually going to be transitioning not just as a magazine, but we're going to start to transition into a foundation. We actually are working on having spots for more or less workshops and written grants, and there's a lot of things, a lot of ideas are running around. But of course, we're looking to give back to the writing community as much as we can. So this is the start right here. These 5 writers giving their all. And again, Knights Library, you can donate at paypal.me/knightslibrary. You can sign up to the Patreon, which we will post as a link coming up very soon. And that's really all I got. So other than that, I think it's time to jump into this reading. I am super excited about. I can't tell you how really excited I am about these wonderful, wonderful poets and friends of mine. Honestly, it's really nice to be able to know that I can look into an inbox and say, "Hey, I need you," and they're always there. And it's not just to read. Sometimes it's just to look at one of my crappy poems. So um, let's go ahead and start. Our first poet. I'm really bad at reading bios, so I apologize, but whatever. We're going to go through it. Bronx Poet Champion, as well as a literal mermaid. She is also a Pink Door Fellow and a National Poetry Slam semifinalist and champion. She has been featured on stages with Andrea Gibson, Sabrina Benham, Olivia Gatwood, and many others. Her chapbook, Weird Things, was featured on the Instagram of pop singers, songwriters, Sarah Bareilles. Her other work is featured in Button Poetry, Slam Fine, and in various literary journals. Her book, Big Feelings, which you should definitely get, is a small press distribution bestseller and is available through Game Over Books. And her website is ggbellapoetry.com. Other than that, she's one of the sweetest people I've ever met in my life. Instantly, we were like friends when I met her at Rust Belt, and I'm so happy that she's here. So I'm going to let Gigi take it away.
Thank you so much, Jason. I'm so happy to be here and just so thrilled to be sharing space with y'all and opening up the night and all that fun shit. Yeah, so let's just get into it. I'm holding an instrument. That's not normally a poet thing, I guess. And I'm gonna, well, that was loud. I'm gonna fix something really quick. Okay, I'm holding an instrument because, I just feel like these times call for an opening number, that's just what it is. Everything's weird. Everything needs to be light before it gets heavy. So I feel like I just don't want to spring all my trauma on you without a little lube for your heart. That's what this is. So anyway, I'm going through a horrible breakup. I'm currently streaming to you from my parents' house. Shout out to my dad for rigging this sweet little setup. This is the first time I've ever done this from here. And I'm just going to play you a little song about the spot that I'm in and a spot you might be in. And it's a song about moving on in whatever way you think is best for you. This feels like death, laid out on a cutting board. Wish that I could just ignore my big stupid feeling hard. I don't know what happens now. How do I move out and move on? 'Cause I'm a mess, stressed, killing myself, forward, backward, depressed. This is as bad as it gets. I've given up all bets on love, on whatever happy I'm supposed to have, till I admitted that I already have a crush on the guy at work. Moving forward is so knee-jerk. Just want someone to put me first. Everybody says that I'm the worst, but baby, I just know what I deserve. I'm gonna kiss a boy, double septum piercing joy. Hopefully we'll stay employed, 'cause I got a crush on the guy at work. He has a name, but for the sake of this song, I'll just say I got a crush on the guy at work. My heart was shattered in hotel hallways. I thought I mattered 'cause you said always. Your big fancy words turned drunk and dribble. I asked for a meal, I got a nibble. So go be a dog and eat your kibble, 'cause I got a crush on the guy at work. Moving forward is so knee-jerk. Just want someone to put me first. Everybody says that I'm the worst, but baby, I just know what I deserve. I'm gonna kiss a boy, double septum piercing joy. Hopefully we'll stay employed, 'cause I got a crush on the guy at work. I don't claim to know what's healthy anymore. Every time I do this, my heart gets so sore. I just wanna know today, right now, right here. Baby, can we go to the back room? Maybe I can face all my fears. Through my crush on the guy at work. Moving forward is so knee-jerk. Just want someone to put me first. Everybody says that I'm the worst, but baby, I know what I deserve. I'm gonna kiss a boy. Double septum piercing joy. Hopefully it will stay a boy, 'cause I love myself. I'm gonna choose me, and maybe he will have a crush on the girl at work. Little opening number for you. Okay, I'm gonna turn this down a little bit because it was being crazy. Yeah, so I like to write about relationships. That's something that I do. I wrote about them a ton in this little book right here. This is Big Feelings, and she is very important to me. So I'm going to read to you a little bit from Big Feelings and read some subsequent other things. I wanted to share this first poem. It was on Button Poetry a little while back. And yeah, it's a poem I'm really proud of, and Knight's Library actually picked it up and published it. So that was cool. And I think that being a writer and coming from spoken word and all of that, sometimes we're scared to make the leaps we need to make in print and to try stuff out. And this was kind of an instance of me like trying stuff out and not really being sure if it would work or not. So this poem is called Mosquito Mestizo. Mosquito Mestizo, a palindrome. A palindrome is a poem that can be read from beginning to end and then again backwards from the last line to the first. The mosquito speaks. I heard them ask once anyway, why is she alive? Always biting, drawing up a plentiful crimson, and suddenly I am the blood, wondering how enough it is, longing to prove itself, ungrateful skin, wondering if it was supposed to be something else, faked freckles, peach bruisey pock marks. If the blood is stolen from it, maybe the body has an excuse to feel like less. Really, I am doing them a service to exemplify their emptiness. I know what it is to be full of a wound's nectar, small, always anticipating my end. I stopped caring when I realized how expensive my living was. The mestizo Mexican girl speaks. When I realized how expensive my living was, I stopped caring. Small, always anticipating my end, full of a wound's nectar. I know what it is to be, to exemplify their emptiness. Really, I am doing them a service to feel like less. Faked freckles, peach bruisey pock marks, wondering if it was supposed to be something else. Ungrateful skin, the blood wondering, and suddenly I am a plentiful crimson, always biting, drawing up, why is she alive? I heard them ask once anyway. So that's Mosquito Mestizo. Just a little palindrome for your night. I'm going to read a poem from Big Feelings. I told you we were going to had to get light before it got heavy. So this next poem, I've just kind of been reading it a lot in all my sets because I feel like we're all in a really similar spot in place and time in the world. And suicidal ideation is a thing, and it's really hard to get through. So if you're in that spot right now, this is a little prayer for you. It's a prayer for me too. It's a prayer for anybody who needs it. And I'm just going to speak it out loud and manifest it for all of us. This poem is called On the First Sunday of Lent. On the first Sunday of Lent, Pastor Judy says to come to the front if the Spirit moves you, if you're looking for healing. So I move, and my forehead is anointed with oil, and I have bangs, so my hair is just greasy now. And I wonder if Jesus's hair was greasy. Maybe that's why he was so holy and shiny all the time. I make this joke whenever I go to church with my family about how none of it really applies to me because I'm a witch. It's not a joke. I went to the Colorado River looking for Yemaya when I moved. Set up my altar with De La Rosa Mazapan and candles for Selena, Frida Kahlo, and Barbara Streisand. I am the Pentecostal congregation at my own Chicana church. As I'm waiting in line to be healed, I become acutely aware that I have forgotten how to pray. Lost in the sunken sad of myself, my therapist says I am a dark room searching for a flashlight. My other therapist says to remember the Mermaid magazine cover of me. The holiest thing I can think of is the fact that I woke up this morning, scrolled the Bible of Instagram makeup tutorial, and painted myself into parable. Blessed be my chrome blue hoops, vintage denim with all the patches, choosing the Bowie platforms over slip-ons. Blessed be my side shave, nose rings, weird tattoos. Blessed be my breath, choosing when to be poem and love song and joke. Blessed be my brave breath, choosing to steady when I am assaulted out of my own hometown. Blessed be my brave breath when my lover turned to alcohol and anger. The holiest thing I can think of is the fact that I woke up this morning. Blessed be my brave breath when I am forsaken, but get back up anyway, love anyway, fight anyway. Blessed be my brave breath when I do not want to breathe. Unlovable sin, collapsed on the floor in ideation. The holiest thing I can think of is the fact that I am still alive, sparkling and spicy as ever, flexing on the past like a sorry bad boyfriend. Blessed be my brave breath when I get up behind the mic, when I am bullied but try again anyway, when I suture my scars into more than enough. Blessed be my lipstick poems, my big stupid heart, my weird pinky toes. Blessed be a prayer that says you did not break me, you will not break me, I am so fucking alive. Blessed be a prayer that says I will wake up tomorrow, I got shit to do, I'm not done here. Blessed be my small cat, blessed be my fear, blessed be my ache, blessed be the glow up that follows the nights I nickname myself Moon, the hundreds of people in the audience listening. The holiest thing I can think of is the fact that I am still alive, and that is so much more than enough. Amen, amen, amen. So that's on the first Sunday of Lent. I definitely just smacked my giant cat ear that I'm not used to as an appendage of my body into this microphone stand. Incredible, folks. I love being a virtual poet. It just suits me. So this is the last poem I will share with y'all. Again, thank you so much to Knight's Library and all the wonderful folks you're about to hear from. Knight's Library is such a cool and important space, and I think that publishing for so many of us, especially spoken word type people, can be a really daunting thing, submitting and publishing. And, you know, to have Jason be like, hey, send us your stuff, just do it, like, come on, let's go. And to have them be so welcoming and wonderful is just a joy. So I'm just really thrilled, and thank you. This last poem that I'm going to read is called Femme Renaissance. Again, I'm Gigi Bella. This is Big Feelings. It's available with Game Over Books. I believe you can also get it from George R.R. Martin's bookstore, beastly.books.com, and they have signed copies if you want to pick it up from there. This is Femme Renaissance. Get up, bitch. You can't sleep till noon every day. Fuck daylight savings. Stop buying coffee at 4 p.m. You'll be drinking it until you can't sleep. Self-care is not party dresses and chocolate chip cookies, or is it? Isn't it what you make it? Bitch, I don't know. Today, you are Instagram beat. False lashes for no reason. Ariana Grande's Thank You Next meets Carly Rae Jepsen's Party for One. Femme Renaissance. Cherry lip gloss, hair straightener wave, waterbed tummy, hips, a full vase wide enough to greenhouse all of your blooming. Tattoo a tour of the country cross your shoulders. Leave a lipstick message on every mirror you find yourself in. This life was never about anybody else. You will only ever be a ghost of yourself. Today, you are Taki Taki Rumba, Cardi B verse, kind of scary, hard to read, like a Ouija board, Linda Ronstadt, Grito to the Moon, 8th grade dance, all by yourself, grabbing your own wallflower hand. This is a love song for all the French fries you eat in the name of self-care, dresses bought in the name of body, holy place. Maybe you have no party to wear them to. Maybe you are the fucking party. You are every prom you were never invited to, bouquets of flowers given to other girls. Fuck all that. You are an orchard, sweet apple blossom. You are the space outside of arms that never held you like a sacred thing, girl of your own dreams. Bruja mermaid, reina de la luna, ever surrounded by star-stuffed constellations for veins. You are holding your own hand at the most romantic part of the movie, telling yourself how beautiful you look in the rain. You have written so many love letters for men who turn to salt, alcohol, a space you could no longer fit yourself into. Where is your manifesto? You love like the Sandia Mountains, watermelon sky, tender enough to turn a rigid thing soft pink, blushing for the whole world to see. Why have you never given yourself that? Thank you so much. Again, I'm Gigi Bella. This is Big Feelings. Send all your money to Knight's Library so they can do cool shit. Thank you.
Oh my God. Thank you, Gigi. That was fan-fucking-tastic. God, I love Gigi. God, I love you. I just love you. I do. So I did post the link to Gigi's book in the Facebook. Once this goes to YouTube, which this is gonna follow over to YouTube, you will also be able to get it'll be on that. I'm gonna link it there too. That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be linked. Thank you, Gigi. Jesus. So I'm gonna collect myself because I need to. Because I'm a mess now because I just was destroyed by an amazing, awesome poet who I love dearly. But we're gonna transition to another poet I love dearly. It's gonna be Lucas. Hi, Lucas. Lucas Ray Hall, born and raised near the Twin Cities, holds an MFA from Pacific University. Their debut collection, which is out next week, and you can catch me there with them. Loudest When Startled will be published by Yes Yes Books in 2020. Their poems have appeared in the Florida Review, Moon City Review, Atlanta Review, and Riley Review, among others. They live in St. Paul, Minnesota. And on a personal note, one of the sweetest people I know in general, just in general. Also very funny. I will also be posting the link to their pre-order in the chat. So without any further ado, Lucas, it's all you.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Yeah, I actually just right before this started, I got a text that my author copies were just shipped. So that's amazing. So I was freaking out about that right before. So yeah, I'm gonna read just a few poems from that collection, Loudest When Startled, out of Yes Yes. Comes out next Thursday on the 29th. And then I'll read a couple other poems that are newer and should be good. This first poem is called How a Bullet Works. For all these poems, they're talking about gun violence. So that's the content warning. I can show you the difference between a wax slug, a cut shell, a Foster, wad slug, one that glides through a smooth bore, one that smooths itself out, how it weighs 10 grams. I can show you how the lead, when it enters, unfurls the gray-brown fur to find the shoulder bone, how it paralyzes, how it exits, how the bullet twines into the trunk of a tree 50 to 60 yards from where it first gasped air, how to reuse it, how to reuse the bullet, then how to reuse it again. When the chamber is emptied, you begin anew. How rifling can be deceptive, like wind moving brush or the faded emerald acrylics on a deer stand. The difference between neglect and an accident. How the bullet would never go off in the right hands. How a safety means nothing. How a bullet sputters, then blooms. This next poem, again, about gun violence. Much of the book is about brothers, two brothers, and kind of looking at various aspects of family and hunting and gun culture throughout America. This next poem is called After the Kill, and it's from the perspective of the brother character. You don't get this game, do you, brother? It's not about the split cranium or the instant hemorrhaging, the perfect shot. Not about sensing the rustle before it rustles. Not about dressing the organs quickly. Not sorry. Not about dressing the organs quickly. Not about the trophy on the wall or the bellies filled. Now listen. It's about the smooth entering from behind, through the legs, those thick muscles. It's about the silence after, the clutched breath. It's like you learned, but you don't know. I thought I taught you better. I thought I showed you how to leave a buck staggering for more, how to leave it by a field swollen and near its grassy tomb, how if you wait for it to heal, it can be hunted again. This next poem is called I Name Him. It's about not naming creatures that you're about to hunt and kill. So I name him. I name the deer before I am told not to name the deer. I name him Darby. I name him Autumn, his harvest, his search, the red, orange, yellow surf that he trods through. I name him Hyde. I name him Please. I name him I see the white hue near his neck, his almost anxious approach towards my blind. I see his muscles, their strength, their language, the press of hoof on soil. I see his antlers, their age. I name him Still, his petite mouth nibbling on bait, his slate sky eyes empty, a long distant flurry. I name him Scope, the presence of my crosshairs hovering, the trigger being readied, the forest holding its brambled breath. I name him Run, his vault over the trimmed brush before he enters his shadow. And then I'll just read one more from the collection. It's called The Way It Dies. After the bullet escapes the barrel, after it snaps open throat, then lung, makes blood and tissue its new family, my brother and I wade through the ironwoods to find it. A stream of red smeared on this matted silver grass leads us. Soon we find the deer, pressed near flat against the dirt, heaved in its dying. My brother bends down, his hands smooth, the fluffs of stray fur, feels the chest expand, struggle to contract, the tip of his rifle making a dig at the ground. He turns to me to find that I've looked away. Then I'm watching the wind rattle over a branch of winter buds and pale green leaflets and says, no, no, look, you have to learn to love the way it dies. This next poem is from the new collection that I've just been starting this year. It's called What If You Inhale Paint Fumes? I inhale, and my lungs welcome with their branches as they do, and the airways squeeze, then release and look. I just painted a whole living room wall and my vision is blurry and I'm starting to get itchy in my chest and I think there's too much dead space rattling inside me and I shake when I place the paintbrush down, and when my mother calls me and asks if I need help, I tell her, and there's a cardinal on the windowsill. It's tilted, beady, and it stares in, and could there be fluid in my pleura, and the windows aren't open, and I've been at it for hours. Since the morning when my lungs were summer trees, full green, and I feel like you aren't listening. and the branches have these tiny little pink buds, and they engulfed and they press in on themselves, little fists of air, and this damn cardinal keeps strutting by the window. And please listen to me, my chest feels so weird. Did I mention the itch? And we have to do another coat, and you just said it sounded like a wheeze, and you know it's been dry, and the cardinal hears me look at it the way it rolls over exposed. And have you been listening? Have you been listening? And my last poem was just published in the last issue of Knight's Library. It's called Thank You for Placing a Warm Towel on My Forehead. Thanks for everybody. Thanks, Jason, for letting me do this. And here we go. Thank you for placing a warm towel on my forehead. Did I make it convincing? Was it the cough, the thick shiver I put on? Maybe the insightful Googling, searching for mild pain, behind the knee, fluid sac, sharp, a drilling, behind the eye, and vomit, and typing in the key words I know will get me the results, maybe letting you in on the difference between irritation and inflammation, how both are tools to ease. Maybe it was me looking at you, reaching out, my hand all tremors and flush, like a boy tugging his mother's blouse, asking for a new toy. Thank you, everybody.
Amazing. Thank you, Lucas. God, y'all are just so good. Y'all just make me want to be a better poet and shit. I appreciate it. Yeah. So thank you all again for being here. I have the opportunity and honor. She knows I'm looking at her too. She's rolling her eyes. So this is like my little sister for real. Like if you ask my sister how I treat my sister, I treat it like Taylor. So let's go ahead and go into. I'm just going to bypass her whole bio and just do my own, but I'm not going to. I'll be professional. Um, Taylor Bias is a Black poet and essayist. She currently lives in Cincinnati, Ohio, where she is a second-year PhD student and an Albert C. Yates Scholar at the University of Cincinnati studying poetry. She is also a reader for both the Rumpus and the Cincinnati Review and the poetry editor for Flypaper Lit. Her poetry has appeared or is forthcoming in the New Ohio Review, the Journal, Glass Poetry, Borderlands Texas Poetry Review, Hobart, Pigeonholes, The Rumpus, and others. She has been nominated for 2 Pushcarts, which now it's 6, 7. I don't know. She got like 36 awards. I don't know. Best New Poets 2020. 6 best okay, that's what it is. 6 best of the net nominations, and is the first place winner of the 2020 Poetry Superhighway contest. And on a personal note, literally, Taylor slid into my DMs in like March and said, "I really like your poem in XYZ," and since then she has continually been 20 times better than me on everything that she has submitted. So my love, my poet sister, Taylor Bias.
Well, I mean, thank you for that introduction. Trying not to cry, but no, I love you, and thank you for having me, and for having me with this incredible lineup of poets. Thank you guys for reading alongside me, and thank you to everyone who is watching. I'm going to read 4 poems for you guys. 2 actually came out today with Pigeonholes, so I was just like, let's read them. So this first one is called Gap. My first words were bodies sleep burdened, stretching themselves to whistles, my TH sounds pulsing my top lip through the breach. And nothing pornographic about the tongue's peep show, the cleavage of the pink bosom, I avoided thank yous out of grace. I kept the faces of my classmates dry with my silence, kissed the boy in fourth grade closed-mouthed, although he tried to work my lips apart with his own. In school pictures, the gap a window to the uvula, a black door through which a wet hush escaped in comfort, among friends. Then the flagrant sputter met with recoil, then laughter, recoil again when I joined. In fifth grade, a girl smiled with an identical gap, the melon arc of her mouth falling like apples into my dreams. Why you don't smile much, she said on the playground. You got a pretty smile. She made me her mirror, both our curved mouths, eccentric pianos, and our gaps, some sort of M dashes, pushing apart, pulling together at once. Okay, so this next poem, if y'all follow me on Twitter, you know that I'm always talking about how men be menning. So this poem is about how men be menning in the club in particular. So this poem is called Club Anthem, to you and your boys watching me. Song says, I put my hand upon your hip, says when I dip, you dip, we dip, but I don't know you like that. You detour to the bar through this ungodly gulch, bodies in cyclone swirl in your fingers, groping blind. You slide behind me, your excuse me drowned by the DJ's instructions, drop it low, y'all, touch the flow. I'm twerking, throwing my weight to the beat until your denimed crotch abrades my backside, then pressure. A squeeze, you snaking your hips against the rising hem of my bodycon dress. The fake surrender always gets me, open palmed and wide eyed. My bad, boy, gone somewhere. At the bar, you order a double Jack and Coke and return to the pack. Your boys, a cluster of button-down shirts, Figaro chains, the chewed down straws in your drinks, stiletto sharp, scratching your pink and thirsty tongues. And you watch me plot a new route to my bounce, my shape, the pendulum knock of your eyes, a twin to the rhythm of my ass. Squeeze by me one more time. I dare you to. All right. These next two poems are two of the newest poems, like the last poems that I have written. So we're gonna get a little sexy before we get emotional. So I've been writing a lot of, Jason's looking at me in the Zoom chat, but I've been writing a lot of erotic poetry lately. And so this one is my most recent one, and it is titled Dream in Which You Cuff Me to the Bed. And your voice segregated itself from the masked darkness, your sung commands peeling themselves from the box fan purring in the corner, the last one nailed into the junction where my wrists meet. And you joked that I was like a cross of flesh, divine in how my body's rippling furnished your hands with warmth, and every touch was feathered with play, with tease. And there was a fine line between marking what belonged to you and marking what tried to escape your possession. And when you think about it, there is no difference between the two. And so you landscaped a field of pink weeds across the tops of my thighs, and the skin swelled in the cool after sting, an insinuation of a wound, and then the blood in quick remission, and you gently whipped new rib lines, red as a lip freshly bitten, because it all started with the ribs, you said, and even this ignorance was biblical. The way I saw nothing, knew nothing until you were a serpent and fruit was waiting on my tongue. And I remembered you had wild ideas about pleasure, said the body usurps the self. And it was less that and more magic, a bewitching of fingers and friction. And it was less that and more exorcism, the bend of my back only half human when the thing leaves me. And once you said this moment after was like having a house in the suburbs, that after the hard yard work you must tend to the flowers, their stems beginning to curve as they strain for light on the kitchen sill. And I wake from this dream hot with noon, the day bucketed and kicked over, spilling into the room. And behind my face mask, I blindly turn my face towards the sun. Okay, this last poem is I went through a phase of writing about my dad a lot, and then I stopped writing about my dad, and then I returned. And so this is like a poem of me working back into writing about my dad. And it ended up being a Jeopardy poem. So yay to all of the Jeopardy lovers here today. This poem is called Jeopardy. The category is birthright. List of potential correct answers submitted. For 200, when inheritance begins. What is in the womb? What is decades before I announced my father dead to me? What is 24 years before I knew everything passed down ain't good, ain't gold? What is when my mother was a crucifix in the hospital bed, split open? What is when her memory of that pain becomes my first heirloom, scrubbed clean from her body's memory? What is when I was a blood-spangled lotus in the doctor's glove, giving my father's last name before even my mother could claim it? For 400, nurture versus nature. What is blood is thicker than water versus blood type? What is how to make onion gravy to smother pork chops versus being smothering? What is how to drive my father's truck versus how I drive people out of my life with my fear of the past repouring itself another glass? What is to avoid eye contact because it leaves me feeling a little too raw versus eye color? What is my disgust for liquor versus my penchant for sweet wine, for vodka and cranberry juice, for a strong Long Island? What is how to hate my father versus loving him still? For 600, if my father is an alcoholic, then I must be blank. What is careful? What is suspicious of every man's thirst for anything he can't drink from me? What is afraid of the way I slow down in the wild aisle at Walmart? What is learning how to uncork a bottle of champagne because it feels like a necessary skill to have? What is fascinated by how a frozen bottle of liquor behaves like a body just dead, the outside frosting faster than the inside? What is choosing to never take a drink in front of my mother because I remind her of him enough as it is? For 800, what people mean when they say, I am my father's child. What is we look alike? What is time filled my purse with parts of him, whether I wanted them or not? What is I got the same great swollen cheeks, his button nose sewn into the geography of my face? What is if I drink a lick of liquor, I can almost taste how bitter he got? What is my love need be like a religion, my tolerance that of Jesus, how I should learn to turn the other cheek before he ever strikes? What is what I owe him and never what he owes me? For 1,000, how I carry what he has given me. What is like a carry-on cutting into my shoulder at the airport? What is like new weight, stubborn, gathering into a hill at the base of my belly? What is like a 22-pound bag of ice, my hands smarting in protest if I hold it, really hold it? What is like a toddler who sometimes wants me to be gentle and other times wants to be thrown up into the sky? What is like my mother carried me, swollen with another body's need and feeding it, still feeding the damn thing? What is like a bindle, because I will always be without a home? Thank you.
This is why she be winning all the awards right here. That's exactly why. I'm over it. Can't stand you. Um, no, that's my little sister. I love her. Um, well, yes. So wow, we are actually Jesus. It's can't believe we're almost done. That's sad. Um, but I really appreciate everyone being here and dealing with my shenanigans and listening to the amazing poets. So let's talk about Therese. Because low key, high key, I met her. Oh, let me do the real thing first. Then I'm gonna be ghetto. I'm hood. Sorry, I'm ratchet. If y'all follow me on Twitter, you know I'm ratchet. So I don't know what you expected, but this is what you're gonna get. Um, Therese Mason Puri is a writer and editor whose work has appeared in Hobart, The Puritan, Quill, Enquire, and The Strange Horizon, among others. She is a senior poetry editor for Augur, a Canadian speculative literary journal, and the author of chapbook Surface Area. I don't know how to pronounce that one, so I'm gonna let you do that. And Manifest through Gap Riot Press in 2020. Therese lives and works in Toronto. Now, the ghetto part. So the actual way I actually met Therese is through Augur. They published my work. They were actually one of, I think, maybe the fourth magazine to ever pick up my work. Um, and I felt real good about it, especially because a bunch of other people from my collective submitted, and I'm the only one that got picked up. So I felt real good about it. And we kind of just been friends since. And I mean, her book looks just, it's really the book looks. It's all about the book looks. They're just, God, just amazing. But also she's such an amazing writer. And I really do appreciate not only her friendship, but just the fact that she's here and supporting the magazine again, after supporting it literally like 2 months ago. So without any further ado, Therese.
Hi, can everybody hear me good? Everyone good? Awesome, thanks. Thank you so much to Jason and to Knight's Library, the magazine. Oh, I'm so excited to be here. So I'm going to be reading 5 poems for you this evening. The first poem is from my first chapbook, Surface Area, with Anthrother Press in Toronto. I live in Toronto. It's all right. It's a cool city. This poem is called Swell. This could be us, but I'm living in the arc of dangerous colors. My father's white knuckles, my mother's purple cheeks, green grass in the cemetery, everyone's red eyes. Your beard scratches me when we kiss. Your body continues to surprise me with its gentleness. Is it something you force? Am I something to hide from or run to? Arms outstretched, with a hot blanket for the womb. It rains for 2 days on our vacation. I'm glad because I don't have to wear a bathing suit. People don't have to ask me why I don't lean into your gravity and why you're okay with that. The palm trees nod at the ocean. The ocean itself does what it always does. The ocean trusts the moon completely. I don't know who stands here, who is firmer, who burns in the light. I am learning to like when my hair gets in my eyes, when our skin swells. I am trying to be a person who can be built from sand. My second poem is from my second chapbook, Manifest, with Gap Riot Press in Toronto. And this one is called La Diablesse. So a content warning for implied sexual assault. And La Diablesse is a figure from Caribbean folklore. She is a woman with one human foot and one cow foot. And she sort of walks along the road and when men stop and, catcall her or try to talk to her, she does away with them. Dr. Bless. She never walks completely on the road. She wears a dress, a shade of blue that doesn't exist. A color my mother saw when she nearly died, projecting me into this world. And the sky and water turned this godly shade. As a seamstress, an artist, my mother was never satisfied again. This blue woman is best friends with the dark and Flora. We don't talk about where she comes from. We wait for a man to drive by this lonely road at night, spot her, stop her. She wears a hat like a tourist, which she is. One leg in this land, one leg outside a slit, both hands grasping. Every man, I suppose, must compare to the deal maker. I never wondered how close she was with him, how deep she dipped her black toe into the role of vessel, of enemy. I imagine she is fine with the skin on her face, its leather and fur. The hat has a purpose, see, no man would go willingly. At the sound of his chirps, she casts a spell. Here is where I get jealous. When I was younger, a man followed me home and cornered me behind my father's garage, told me to lift my dress, remove my panties. Within spitting distance of hammers, drills, and acid, I did not comply, and then I don't remember. But perhaps I saw that same blue, the same blue this woman swishes, this woman animals and goddesses around night after night. The spell is in the disappearing. In the wild way he wails through the trees. When I first heard of her, I thought she'd have sex with them before their demise. Later, I realized it was never about sex. It was about power. I want to see her whole face, her victory pose, on high, backlit by the moon, as the man crashes to his grave. But there are different kinds of power too. When I am alone, I walk half on the grass, half on the street. No one stops me these days. I wear pants. I bottle the lore my mind allows me to think about on days I want to be controlled by a demon. Dream about blue when I want to die. And my latter three poems are new ones that I've written. So they're not really anywhere. One of them isn't anywhere yet, but yeah. This one is called Myth. Last week, there was a shooting at the mall. Ever bold, you claimed it added one more talking point. Our legs entwined at the back of the cinema, breath snatching. The daylight squeezes, drips over us on the way home. Always a risk. Walk on the field or the road, our prayers wiped away with the orange sky while animals grazed. Those people, you say, in their own heads, trying on dresses, buying school supplies, then some harsh red ending. I want a death as real as possible. Old age, a shooting, falling from a cliff, my maroon frightening the sea. Ever broad, you'd rather die by myth. Come upon the antagonist of your mother's disciplines, driving alone at night, shaking the wrong tree, sleeping at the opposite end of the bed, pride matured into an iron noose. I always need to think about what part of me would be mourned, and for that, you say we diverge. The moon has plans for us. The grass trips my feet. We cross the road and I lose my shoe. I'm almost hit by a car. We kiss at the top of the hill. Fireworks go off somewhere, but don't illuminate the sky. A dog barks. In the field below, a creature moves back and forth, drinking the blood of cows. This poem I wrote, it's called Tropic of Cancer. I wrote it for my friend Lawrence for his birthday because I'm trying to turn him into a poet. And I'm like, if I write you a poem for your birthday, you have to read this poem. And he did, and he loved it. Tropic of Cancer. On this shore, the insects scheme, sing the hair along my body. I say I dream about strolling where the moonlight hits the water and disturbs it, grasping stones in my hands. A resting coast here, mine, and yours on fire 2 oceans away. We both sleep under mosquito nets, struggle to entertain the midnight humidity, write emails shedding our skin into concept and vessel. Your false age allows honesty. You glimpse a harder gate in my photos, my shadow too close to the sea, too longing. Once in heat, you wrote you wanted to marry under a dying tree. Wipe sweet rot on your chest, shackle your hands to any real life. I told you there are more convenient magic systems. You and I have the same palms that sway in the between, the same catastrophic winds, the same gray arcs in our eyes. All this talk, the sky whispers, yet we wait for a blessing, a pistol shooting blanks. 27 years from now, after your wife births power, the world will spin us into a crackling bay, named something quaint like Crescent or Patience, overlooking a skirted trench, bitten arms and lips. The slow burn swallowed, a writhing fish released. And I think I'm going to end here, actually. Yeah, I don't know how long I've talked, but I feel like this is too long. So, so thank you again so much to Jason and to Knights Library, and thank you to all of you for coming and listening, and thank you to all the poets who've read so far. I'm very excited, and I'm happy to hear you read. Thank you.
Oh my God, I love you so much. I think, yeah, and I'm done. That's just great. No, that was amazing, and I appreciate it. So, real quick update. There was an issue with the PayPal thing. It was not actually going through. The reason being is I think it's an old link, so it would not actually allow for you to process any payment. So I posted the new link, the one that would allow you to process the payment. Thank you to the couple people that let me know, very specifically Tom and Maddie for subscribing, that's different, for donating, and B also for letting me know that we fucked up. So it's cool. It's our first fundraiser, guys. I promise it's the first one I've ever put on. I'm a child. But anyway, the show must go on, and it sadly will end after this poet. But when I tell you that I'm so excited because I haven't gotten to hear him say or read live in over a year, I was very disappointed that we weren't able to, go back to Rust Belt and be all friends again. So again, I'll keep my ghetto shit to after the bio. Zach Goldberg is a North Carolina born writer, educator, and organizer. He competed with and co-directed We Slam, Wesleyan University's national ranked poetry slam team in 2012 and 2013. Zach's work has appeared in Voicemail Poems, Bird's Thumb, Button Poetry, and elsewhere. He was a member of the 2018 and 2019 Berkeley Slam teams, and his chapbook, is it 15 or is it XV? 15. We're going 15 here. Don't worry, I'm going to post the link in the messages. Has been published by Nomadic Press. You can find Zach in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where he lives and works as an art administrator. Now, let me tell you about my friend Zach. This is a very specific story I have about Zach. So Zach was in the finals of the of Rust Belt's individual slam. And I just remember very distinctly, he starts a contrapuntal, which he went into the finals with 3 form poems. What the fuck? B, he starts a contrapuntal, and Eric looks over to me and is like, this isn't impressive. And I said, just wait. And he hits the tail end of that contrapuntal, and Eric loses his shit. And it was amazing. And at that moment, I was like, okay, this is like leagues out of me. Like, I'm not even a poet anymore. That's where I was. And since then, I've been following and really admiring what Zach does, especially with form. He, for some reason, let us have Blackout, which is an amazing poem. But I'm done talking. I'm going to let Zach take over. Thank you, Zach.
No, thank you. Yeah, and thanks for approaching me at Rust Belt so we could be friends. I appreciate that. And I want to also give a shout out to all the other poets who have read. It's been really awesome being able to hear y'all. And if you're watching, you should buy their books and stuff because that's good. I'm going to go ahead and start. My first poem is called Ninth Plague, and it borrows a line from Eduardo C. Corral. I am an Aries, which means I'd rather be destroyed than ignored. My mother likes to tell this one story, how as an infant, I bit down on her breast when she raised her chin to chastise my older brother. Attention is my currency of choice, never mind its vicinity to violence. I grew up wanting a reason to kick, to be kicked. I grew up believing there's a scientific explanation for everything that happens in the Bible. Pillar of salt, column of fire. I learned that acts of God can be predicted by an atmospheric disturbance, a simple trick of astrophysics. 3 days after the solar eclipse, my mother calls to tell me the Torah scrolls have been moved to a safe location. This must be the end of days. I mark the blood over my door. I brace myself to be passed over. Although with the sky so black, I'm willing to bet no one would even consider me anyway. I never understood what makes the firstborn son so special. Can't I tempt a destroying angel? Can't I sit on the receiving end of wrath? Tremble if God forgets you. Tremble if God remembers. Darkness was the 9th plague, and then there was violence. Thank you. Okay. I'm gonna keep going now and keep reading poems. Oh damn, I should have set a timer. Okay, anyways, this next poem is called A List of Rituals to Invoke Hypnos, the God of Sleep. Before anything else, you can simply breathe. Hypnos, the God of Sleep, is summoned first and foremost by the sound of the human breath. The rhythmic rise and fall of your chest is a conjuring in and of itself. You can abstain from cannabis, from coffee. You can run 3 miles a day and drink nothing but water, light incense and let it burn while you fester in your sheets. Everything puts you to sleep eventually. You can brew tea from the roots of a poppy. Unspool the sweater your mother knit, and with its wool, weave a blanket the exact weight and shape of your lover's arms. Proper worship demands sacrifice. What are you least willing to give up? Break it with your own dreamless teeth. It's no coincidence that insomnia mimics prayer, the repetition, the desperation, the obsession with voice, regardless of its efficacy. Everyone knows that Hypnos, the God of sleep, is the son of Nyx the night and Erebus the darkness. With this in mind, you can welcome any shadow that crosses your threshold, feed it, and he may mistake it for family. Barring that, your options are limited. You can renounce light. You can shatter every bright bulb in the city. You can return to the same bar every night to greet your friends with their long, slender necks, their citrus perfume and liver ridicule, the ritual weight of a glass bottle tipping over. It may work for a while, but ultimately, if he won't be seduced by honey or vinegar, the only option left is fire. There are no halfway martyrs here, only more potent prayers, new sacraments with names dreamt up in white rooms, trazodone, zolpidem, lorazepam, these small and brooding knots slipped on the tongue. And though you may fear the rings of benzene, no weapon formed against this bond will wake you. Dreamer's Eucharist, nightmare covenant. Inside this tiny disc, you can lose yourself in worship, become so devoted to the practice that you forget the God. Here, the altar, and here the lamb to slaughter. Your mind, a single hymned choir. And at last he comes, he conjures, he magics the night, and you will know his presence like a miracle in reverse. You and your fouled holy water, your insignificant offerings. You will learn that there are no sacrifices you can make that would give you any kind of rest you'd want to have. But nevertheless, the God comes, stretching your mind over your body until it is a film so thin you can see through it. See into the cave where he lives, Hypnos, the god of sleep, and he will smile, his teeth white and cratered as a wicked moon, and they shine so bright they blind you, a flicker, a flare, a flash that just might put you down for good. Thank you. That's about how I can never fall asleep at night. All right, I'm gonna do, I have a little bit of time. Okay, I'm gonna do this next one. I've been writing a lot of poems recently about Judaism, and specifically Judaism in America. They have a very complicated relationship to it. And this poem is a response to an executive order that was signed almost a year ago now that essentially changed some civil code to label Judaism as a nationality, which is extremely problematic for a number of reasons that I'd love to talk with you about if you would like to hit me up later. But this is a poem. It's called Twice Contained. And just like that, another nation encircles me. Bastard halo looming behind my insidious back, I am twice contained, a Venn diagram of flags, barnacle on liberty's blue hull. Explain again how I parasited my host home into this abundance, how I am blamed for the rats when the rats cannot be found. My grandparents' parents doubled their prayers on the crest of migration. Each year, the border of Russia crossed their cemeteries like a harvest blade. Each synagogue, an illuminated waiting room for the twice promised voyage. They couldn't be picky with so few choices, so when you said come, they came, beckoned by thick shoals at the bottom of a lake. There, in the shallows of a different massacre, my great-grandmother gave her name to your butcher tongues, a woman beneath a larger woman's pale torchlight. And now don't I sit between these two sweet, poisonous mouths, spent 40 years in the desert confusing your countries for covenants, though in truth I am neither convert nor congregant, not citizen, not of one continent, a colonizer then, twice over. When you say God, you mean government, you mean ground stolen and then stolen, but no named land will grow my brand of briar, so now I belong to both culprit and casualty. Now I'm blessed with two shadows, their hands dipped in empire. Pardon me, are these both nations? I don't believe I asked, not even for one. All right, that is the poem. And now I'm gonna try and get in two more poems really quickly, and then we'll be good. Yeah, thanks everyone who's watching. And again, thanks to Nice Library and Jason for setting this up. And if you're watching, I beseech you to donate, because it's a great magazine. It's a great journal. They put out really great artists. So Jason actually just mentioned this poem earlier. This was published in the spring edition of Knight's Library. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this. I hope I can remember it. I probably can't. An ode to blacking out in 5 drinks, in which each progressive drink is an erasure of the drink before it. First drink. When you're a kid, it's easy to think that having an addictive personality means no one can get enough of you. Then you grow up and your poetry professor tells you to stop writing about whiskey because there is nothing interesting about the fact that you're a drunk. When I first learned about blacking out, I was still able to stop myself from it. I spent my nights creating new mixed drinks and good memories. I can't ever forget the first time I had just the right amount. And it didn't have to be alcohol. It could have been anything. It can be an addiction before it is ever a vice. Because if I swallowed it and finished it and it didn't kill me, it must be some kind of medicine. It must be the first thing worth my good health. I'm not remembering the other night perfectly, but there is a trap door beneath my feet that no one has the key to. I can't open it, not even with a drink. Not even when I offer to give up my entire body, but all the same, praise to the bottle sunrise, praise the best friend therapist so designated by this holy mixture, praise the lift driver, this unlucky ferryman crossing the river Styx, poor old God. When I am unable to make the passage, he does it for me. Second drink. When you think having an addictive personality means no one can get enough of you, your poetry tells you writing about whiskey is interesting. When I first learned about blacking out, I was still able to stop myself from creating new mixed drinks and memories. I can't ever forget the first time I had just the right amount. Anything can be an addiction, because if I swallowed it and finished it and it didn't kill me, it must be the first thing worth remembering. There is a trap door beneath my feet that I can open with a drink when I offer up my entire body. All the same, praise to the bottle, best friend, therapist, so designated by this mixture, praise the lift driver, this unlucky ferryman God. When I am unable to make the passage, he does it for me. Third drink. An addictive personality means no one can get enough whiskey. When I black out, I stop creating new memories. I can't forget because I didn't first remember. The trap door can open with a drink when I offer up praise to the bottle, best friend, the designated driver, this ferryman God. When I am unable, he does it for me. Fourth drink. Addictive means when I can't open a drink, I offer up praise to the bottle. Best end. The designated driver is God. I am unable. He does it for me. Fifth drink. When I offer to be the designated driver, I do it for me. All right, that was that poem. And I'm gonna do one last one. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, thanks to all the other poets. Y'all are amazing. Thanks to y'all if you're watching. Thanks to Jason. Oh, also, Jason didn't mention this. I mean, I guess they kind of did, but like, Jason's also an amazing poet. You should buy their stuff also. So like, do that. This last poem is from my chapbook. It's right here. It's called XV or 15. You can call it either one of those things because I'm pretentious, I guess. All right, this is the last poem. After the hospital, everything tastes a little like copper. I bite my own tongue to know the metal, a polluted creek running down my throat. Listen, when I say my heart is broken, I don't mean I'm in love. I mean I went down to the river. I did not swim. I did not take off my shirt. My chest is a faulty switchboard and I could still feel the wires for weeks after the hospital. Listen, the heart in this poem is not a metaphor. I tied a penny to a length of fishing line and swallowed it. The tiny God inside me leaps as fish do when they're too close to air. Have you ever been held hostage by your own pulse? Nothing shines as brightly as a coin freshly minted by someone about to kill you. But listen, this poem is not about love. Or if it is only in the way that every poem is about love. It's about living with fear, but living. It's about the process through which tributaries become oceans. It's about going down to the river and seeing a child and his father reeling in their fishing line, a boy kicking straight across the swimming hole. My love, who is not at the water, but floats at the edges of each sentence, and I can feel them there, just there. Thank you. Thanks so much, y'all.
Fuck. Yeah. We're gonna take like a 5-second break. Thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. I 100% really do appreciate it. Knights Library appreciates it. We have a lot that we are looking to do and trying to do. And this means a lot to us, and knowing the people that we have in our corner really it really helps. I personally love this community so much for how I've been brought in and loved by so many people, by so many great artists. I've learned so much just being under everyone. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm just going to close out the show by just kind of thanking the people that have been helping me out as well, as you know, the artists. So my second in command, Eric Sirota, he's always there for me as well. He's an amazing poet, and he just kind of keeps me a little bit more organized. He doesn't know shit about technology, but he definitely makes up for it with everything else he does. Alex is my technology guy. So Alex Nuttall is our interviewer. He also sets up all my Zoom calls. He kind of helps fix things when I break it. So I really appreciate that. Jessica Evans is maybe the best social media person I've ever seen in my life. And the work that she does to get this, not just our work out there, but everyone else's work out there, and how she cross references is just amazing. And then I have 3 really amazing and really careful editors. So I have Essa, I have Steven, and I have Timothy Oho. And they understand that I have a high level, I think of poetry at a very high level, and I think of any written art is at a really high level, and we don't just accept anything. And they really have taken to that. I also have Maeve, who's a reader for us, and she's also amazing. And last but not least, Peyton actually does all of the design, all of those flyers, minus the shitty one I did. So my team, I wouldn't ask for another one, and I'm really excited and happy for that. So thank you all. And then for you 5 amazing, wonderful readers, Taylor, Therese, Zach, Gigi, Lucas, this means so much to me. And with that, I'm going to sign off, and you all have a wonderful night. Thank you.